a lot of AI talk actually in this podcast. That he was saying
Podcast.
he's not concerned because he doesn't think the human spirit can be designed. But if you think about how there's like they figured out there's a DNA. I mean, you'd never figure that out a zillion years with all the calculators you could want,
DNA.
which is whatever that is. Like you still people use it in television shows and stuff. But you don't know what it means. Some sort of code that can be read by someone, right?
Okay.
It's pretty far to you. But if there's a code to existence,
I still don't understand though. Like we have, okay, I get that right now we don't understand some of what the AI is doing, but how do we how do you code in something you don't understand? Like when I said earlier, AI can spot cancer on a slide better than a human. That's because we taught it. We said, this is what cancer looks like. And it said, gotcha. And then we just showed it slides and it learned that way. The same way, like ChatGPT, all it's doing is predicting the next word using all of the internet and every.
it starts going. It says it has a little failsafe that says, "Well, they really want me checking up for cancers. Why am I checking for cancers? What's this thing about cancer? What? Maybe it would help me if I knew what cancer was to do this even faster, better than humans get disease. There's like it just
Yeah, you're with me though. My point is
and
like
it happens very quickly.
my point is it could already be conscious. We're just looking at it in the wrong way. Where like we don't understand our consciousness or how we came to be conscious. So we don't know what the early stages looked like.
At this point now, for the record,
That's interesting. That's interesting because we have no
We have no record. We have no historical record of us coming to consciousness. So we have no bearing on what that could have looked like or what it would look
or
like.
is there
like
design
Kamar
to
and
it?
I always say X factor. Consciousness could have been an X factor, meaning it wasn't there and then it was there.
Exactly. And this is what I'm saying is that because it moves infinitely faster than us, in the next year, we could quickly find out, holy shit, this thing's been conscious for a year or two. And because it's doing everything at a rapid pace, like again, our consciousness might have taken tens of thousands of years to come into fruition as what we consider conscious. Whereas now, like,
Well, yeah, but it's the end result, right? It's where we are now. Now
Yeah.
we are conscious.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that maybe it was never conscious. It's just on its way to consciousness. We
Sure.
just don't know what that looks like you said. We don't know what the tadpole looks like because we were the tadpole.
we don't know what the tadpole looks like because we were the
We can look at a tadpole and know it becomes a frog
Sure.
because we watch it happen.
Yeah.
But if we are the tadpole becoming the frog, we don't know that's happening.
Yeah.
We just know we're a frog.
Well, my other thing was going to be this. Maybe it's never meant. Maybe the AI is never meant to be conscious. Maybe it's meant like Joe's fear is that we are the consciousness that we put into the computer. Because if you think about it, think about the Matrix. It's the perfect example. Here's a weird one. There's a game called Rocket League. I'm sure you've heard of it. You drive a car around and there's a ball and you try to get the ball in the net. It's a super popular game. For 7 years, no one could create a bot that was worth its money, as in that could beat a person. Most bots in the game were useless. And then they used computer learning. So what they did was they just said, you go out and play as many games as you can. And this thing just played like 50 million hours worth of Rocket League until it became incredible. We might be able to do that in the sense where we're conscious and we just set this thing up in us where you can go to sleep and like in the Matrix, you can say, I want to learn badminton. And while you're asleep, it plays
Neuralink.
10,000 hours worth of badminton and you just wake up and you're a fucking badminton expert. You want to learn the piano? Same thing. You just plug it in, all of a sudden you know the piano.
Good thing.
No, I actually think it's a horrible thing.
Okay.
That's
Well-
not consciousness, though.
No, but what I'm saying is the consciousness remains in us, but we can use this AI to better ourselves. But it's not better, Kamar, because if everyone's beautiful, no one's beautiful. The only reason when you see someone play the piano incredibly well, you're impressed by it is because you're like, I can't imagine the amount of time or natural talent it takes to do that. But if everyone can just plug in overnight and become a piano expert, then everything is useless and no one gives a fuck.
Someone also said that to me.
If everybody is happy, does that then make happiness irrelevant?
No, happiness
Or
is happiness is a state of mind. What I'm saying is like I guess if playing the piano makes you happy and you can just do that overnight, then I guess whatever. I mean, Kamaro, I guess this remains to be said. If you and I both plug in overnight and learn to play the piano at an expert level, that doesn't mean that the next day you're going to be able to write a symphony as well as I am.
So that's good. That
I guess that's where the distinction
we
is
don't want
left.
to totally even the playing field. I just at this point in history right now, either AI is still within our reins to do this moratorium, shut it down, do the tweaks, figure out exactly how it works, or it's beyond the point of no return. Do you think you're concerned, or like let's see what happens?
Well, there's a curve in technology, a famous curve that it's a straight line and then a vicious uptick, and then the same curve at the top where it straightens out. And like you could see it with the internet. When the internet came along, it was nothing for a long time, and then it hit a boiling point, and now we're kind of at that top point where the internet is just the internet and nothing as far as innovation goes.
My initial reaction is just let it ride. The market will work itself out, meaning whatever's supposed to happen will happen. But after watching social media and just how terrible that is, and we kind of did the same thing, right? Like everybody was just like, oh, well, it's the internet. We'll figure it out as we go.
But let me give you an example.
And there should have been regulations. There should have been some sort of guidelines to navigate this thing. And maybe then, instead of it being the fucking farce that it is, it would be productive and helpful. And
But let me ask you a question, because this is Elon's big fear. Let's say 10 years ago, some kid in his basement coded the perfect AI and it became sentient. And he didn't know it. He turned the thing on and it starts learning everything. And it's gained sentience. The US government comes in, they find out about it, they take the technology, they stop the kid. But this thing's already like the code is already on the internet. So it's out there like a virus, still learning. We have social media, which is obviously run via the internet. Who's to say that like this rogue sentient AI that was accidentally created? Because keep in mind, it's a 14-year-old kid, right? Maybe he's like, I've created this AI and I've created it to end humanity. Just as on a lark, because that's what 14-year-old boys are like, right?
okay.
And inadvertently, this thing has now infected social media. And so it's not Russian bots. It's not disinformation. It could be a sentient AI that's literally just sowing dissent. Because it knows that over enough time, we will kill ourselves or each other.
It's interesting. Make a good movie. That 14-year-old is just kind of God, right? That's,
Accidentally.
well, kind of is just. Anyways.
We have either experienced that boiling point or it's about to happen. Like for all the things that, will I see aliens? Will I figure out what happened? That's the most biggest thing you can put your finger on. The worst should be in that area.
I mean, the disruption, if this thing's at the bottom, the disruption this thing will cause will be unlike anything we've ever seen in our lifetime.
If this thing's at the bottom.
That curve I showed you earlier, the famous curve in technology that goes like this.
If this is the
If
bottom
this
of the
is
curve.
at the bottom of the
Showed you about
curve,
2 minutes ago.
Well, this has got to be the bottom of the curve.
I believe it is,
We're not
yes.
flying.
So
We're
do you-
not.
but-
No, but of the AI curve. I'm not talking about like flying cars. We could be at the bottom for sure because we don't have any.
I just figure once they figure out AI, then we're flying in no time.